Today you become a 38-year-old debt-trapped Chinese man. At 19, I got my first student credit card. At 38, I lie on the floor of a cheap rental between collection calls and bank lawsuits. In 1988, I was born in a small Jiangsu County town. My father worked at a state textile mill. My mother sold tofu at the wet market. The family lived on 180 yuan a month. In 1993, I was 5. Walking with my mother in the wet market, I saw the pork vendor lady using a brick phone. Mother said that thing was for rich people only. In 1996, I was 8 when the textile mill collapsed and my father lost his job. That night, he threw his work permit into the coal stove and my mother cried in the kitchen. In 1998, I was 10 when a classmate showed up in new Nike sneakers. My mother had bought me 30 yuan Warrior canvas shoes. For the first time, I knew what poverty was. In 2000, I was 12. My uncle came back from Shenzhen for New Year and gave me a 200 yuan red envelope. I held it all night, and my mother took it next morning. In 2003, I was 15. Phones were spreading at junior high, but I had none. The teacher told me to borrow 800 yuan from home for a Nokia. I tore 3 drafts of the IOU. In 2005, I was 17 in senior high. I secretly tutored for 15 yuan per session and saved a semester to buy a used Nokia 1110 with blue screen for 280 yuan. In 2006, I was 18. I scored 547 on the Gaokao and got into a Tier 2 university in Nanjing. The day the letter arrived, my father drank 2 liang of baijiu and said, "Son, you made me proud." In 2007, I was 19. Second week of freshman year, China Merchants Bank set up booths on campus handing out plastic basins for student credit cards. I applied for my first with a 3,000 yuan limit. In 2007 winter at 19, I used the credit card to buy a Shanghai smartphone for 1,800 yuan in installments, repaying 158 yuan monthly for 1 year, with 360 yuan interest. In 2008, I was 20 in sophomore year. I started spending real money on Legend private servers, up to 800 a month. The first card maxed out, so I got a second with 5,000 limit. In 2009, I was 21 with my first girlfriend in the same class. For her birthday, she wanted a 1,200 yuan necklace. I swiped the third credit card, and she said I was generous. In 2010, I was 22 when I activated Aunt Huabei with 5,000 limit. I called it money that costs nothing, paying for takeout movie tickets and Valentine gifts on it. In 2011, I was 23, just graduated. I went to Shanghai in sales, earning 4,500 a month and paying 1,800 rent. First month, I swiped the credit card to keep up appearances. In 2012, I was 24 when I jumped to an auto parts private firm at 6,800 a month. I swiped the credit card to buy a used Buick Encore with 30K down over 36 months. In 2013, I was 25 when a colleague pulled me into Lufax P2P at 12% annual yield. I put in 50,000, and the first month I received 500 interest. I felt I had awakened. In 2014, I was 26 when my girlfriend pushed for marriage. I bought a 40,000 diamond ring in 24-month installments, credit cards, and Huabei together, thinking nothing could break the chain. In 2015, I was 27 when we married. We bought an old 95 square meter flat near Shanghai for 600K down. I took 400K mortgage with 6,800 monthly payment. In 2016, I was 28 when our son was born. Formula costs, diaper costs, night nurse costs maxed the cards again. I applied for 2 new cards, making total limit 80,000. In 2017, I was 29 when home renovation cost 350K, only 50K mine and 300K from renovation loan at 9% annual with 5,200 monthly. I thought a promotion could carry it. In 2018, I was 30 when company performance collapsed and the year-end bonus was cut from 80K to 8K. I started cash advancing 1 credit card to pay another. In 2019, I was 31 when I first used online loans Jiebe Whaley Dai JD Gold Bar. First time borrowing 8,000 yuan, I overnight repaid the nearly overdue CMB card. In 2020, I was 32 during the pandemic. Company cut pay 30% from 15K to 10K. with mortgage at 6,800 and online loans plus cards totaling 12K due. In 2021, I was 33, starting to dodge collection calls from unknown numbers. Work slipped, 2 contracts were lost. My wife began flipping through my phone asking what was wrong. In 2022, I was 34 when I took my first formal consumer loan from CMB for 240K, clearing 12 credit cards at once. I thought I was free finally. The interest was only 4%. In 2022, I was 34 and 3 months later, I started swiping cards again because my child needed tutoring and my wife wanted a new car, back to 300K debt. In 2023, I was 35 when the company laid off mass employees. I survived, but was demoted to base salary 6,000 bonus. I began covering the mortgage with online loans. In 2023, I was 35 when I started researching individualized installment negotiation with banks. I called 17 banks, and only one agreed to 60-month interest-free terms. In 2024, I was 36 when my Lufax investment collapsed and the remaining 180K principal went to zero. My son's tutoring stopped and my wife had insomnia, checking my messages at night. In 2024, I was 36 when I took a second mortgage at Ping and Puhuay for 800K at 18% annual. I thought this was the last lifeline of borrowed money. In 2024, I was 36 when my wife found every loan record. She pulled me to civil affairs for property division. The child went to her, and I paid $5,000 monthly. In 2025, I was 37 when I moved out of the flat I had spent $350K renovating. I rented a partitioned cubicle 2 kilometers from the office at $1,800 a month, no windows. In 2025, I was 37 when the first credit card went 90 days overdue and entered the bank blacklist. Second and third followed. I started turning off my phone to sleep. In 2025, I was 37 when collectors started calling my contact list. The first they reached was my mother selling tofu in the wet market. She sat down on the ground. In 2025, I was 37 when CMB sued me. The court summons arrived at the rental, but I did not appear. Judgment was 180K principal, 60K interest, 30K attorney fee. In early 2026 at 38, I was placed on the dishonest debtor list, banned from high-speed rail and chain hotels. My ID flagged red everywhere I tried to swipe. In 2026 at 38, the company learned I was sued. HR asked me to resign on my own. Final salary 5,800 yuan. I transferred straight to the minimum online loan repayment. In 2026 at 38, I went to a construction site hauling bricks 280 a day. My back broke for 3 days. Then delivering food, I was hit by an e-bike and broke my collarbone. In 2026 at 38, my mother called crying asking if I could come back home. She said the tofu stall could still take me. I could not speak and silently hung up. In 2026 at 38, my son turned 6. His mother messaged saying no gift needed, just informing me. I transferred 500 yuan saying daddy is a bit busy these days. In 2026 at 38, I started reading news on Shenzhen personal bankruptcy pilots. I found my Hoku was not in Shenzhen, so I was ineligible and Shanghai had no policy yet. In 2026 at 38, across all lending platforms, my principal stood at 1.87 million, with interest rolling to 2.4 million. My nominal monthly take-home pay was 0. In 2026 spring at 38, I pawned my wedding ring for 800 yuan rent money. I wired 200 yuan to mother asking her to sell tofu fewer days. She said she had money and refused. In 2026 at 38, I started hiding from calls in the library. I borrowed a book called Negative Asset Life, and at the middle I cried until the elderly guard came to console me. In 2026 at 38, an old classmate added me on WeChat saying he ran a debtor mutual aid group and would invite me if willing. I thought 3 days and clicked yes. In 2026 at 38, the group had 217 people. The largest owed 6 million, the smallest 80K. Someone proposed crowdfunding a lawyer for collective negotiation. I no longer felt alone. In 2026 at 38, I started keeping a ledger, writing every expense in a small notebook. 18 yuan meals, 60 yuan shared rent, 1 yuan phone bill. This is my new beginning. In 2026 at 38, every night, I still lie on the rental floor receiving collection calls, but I no longer power off my phone. I tell myself staying alive matters more than paying back. That is the life of a 38-year-old debt-trapped man. Please forward and vote in the comments whose life copy you want next. See you next episode.